Guys, it's John here with National Sports Entertainment, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm kind of addicted to this fantasy draft mock simulator thing. So I did fantasy years ago when I was like a stat nut and I knew all the stats of all the players, and more importantly, when I thought football was not scripted, and or at least in some way, like choreographed between Vegas and the leagues and the players. So obviously, I always like picked the best guys and wondered why it wasn't quite enough to win championships. Last couple of years, I did play around with fantasy, but not too much. But a friend of mine like really got me back into it, honestly, just because I hadn't really done it in a while. And then you hear it like a bunch of times, and you're like, I mean, it's been a while since I've done that. It's kind of like the Survivor leagues, you don't do them often, or like the weekly pools. I used to do them all the time. But anyway, I thought I would do this video because it's kind of early, but there's like championships. They have all sorts of leagues now. I'm definitely doing like a money league, but they have like actual championships out in Vegas. It's pretty crazy. But I think it'll help people as far as because now I'm going to be using my new logic, which is still using the numbers and the stats, but most importantly, if a pick looks too good to be true, it probably is, and also looking at the Vegas numbers. So by that I mean, if Vegas has the over under on a receiver at 1,200 yards, that means they expect that receiver to get around 1,200 yards. That means he probably will. If Vegas has another player's over under at 800 yards, they don't expect him to get 1,000. And obviously, I'm gonna go with Vegas's opinion over what these experts are saying for the fantasy league. So, I think incorporating the Vegas odds, the too good to be true type deal, and just kind of what makes sense, I think it'll be a pretty profitable year. I'm going points per reception because I think most leagues do that now. Maybe the half point per reception. Snake order is the only one that I've seen besides salary cap. Linear would be kind of messed up if it's just 1 through 12 and then it goes back to 1. Obviously, you get a huge disadvantage. And yeah, so I'm going to go into this. I am doing tomorrow. I'm going to cover the Pacers game. I've noticed that their line has moved like every game this series quite a bit, like 3-4 points. So by the time I do my video, sometimes like 2 days prior, the next day, the line's like 3 points shorter or longer. So anyway, we're gonna randomize the draft pick, and now here's my strategy. Oh, there you go. I don't want to see it. My strategy is, I think the best pick to get is the 12th pick. The 11th actually works too because it's the same deal. And I'll go into it all. This is going to be a pretty long video because I'm not covering your typical fantasy football metrics. This guy has 28 points a game, he averages for fantasy. I'm not going into that. I'm going into the logic, the psychology, and the math aspect of taking certain players and why, again, the 12th pick's just the best because outside of the first pick, and we'll get into it. Let's start the draft. But outside of the first pick, I feel like any pick before like 8 or 9, you're getting the same tier players, if that makes sense. So you might as well wait and get a better pick where you don't have to wait too long. So let's see what we get. Watch us get the first pick. All right, so the 5th. So this is all right. We're right in the middle. You don't have to wait too long. I like getting the 12th and the 11th because, so if you have the 11th and there's only 12 picks, you get your pick, and then you get to see who your opponent takes or who they need. So they're not really a threat because as long as they don't need the position that you need, then you don't have to worry about them taking your guy. And if you have the 12th pick, you get 2 in a row. So we get the 5th pick here, and this is some stuff I want to go into. This is why I didn't put a time clock on. For me, I'll just go into the players off the bat that I'm high on. I'm not high on Allen and Jackson and Daniels, really. I think they are going to probably be the 1, 2. I'll say top 5. I'll say 2 of these guys will be in the top 3, and 1 will be in the top 5 as far as quarterbacks, as far as fantasy production. I just don't think they are worth taking that much earlier. I don't think they're going to be that separated from other quarterbacks. You get to the running backs, and it's an interesting one because the fifth pick is not one I love, and the reason is there's a few players I love that are sleepers. So, like a guy like Genty here, I would gladly grab with the 12th pick or even like the 8th or ninth pick. But now I can't because it's a super reach. So that's kind of unfortunate. And same with CeeDee Lamb, Pakua. Like I could take them. There's some receivers I want down the line. It really does come down to draft position, but essentially what I like to do is stay away from players that seem too good to be true, for like Saquon here, who just had the best season of his career, one of the best seasons ever, and they have Jahmyr Gibbs ranked higher than him. Most people are going to see this and say, oh, it's too good to be true, I'm taking Saquon. I'm staying away from him for that reason. It just looks too good to be true. Plus, you got the Madden curse. For anyone that doesn't know, most players, when they're on the cover of Madden, they tend to not do so well the next year. And he might have a good year, that's fine. I just, between what the Vegas numbers are saying, the fact that he's available at 5 after the year he had, all that's just kind of crazy to me. You see McCaffrey's kind of low here. But Gibbs, I'm a huge fan of Gibbs. The problem is with two running backs there, and I do think he's going to take majority of the carries. But with Montgomery, you are going to have probably 3-4 games a year that Gibbs just doesn't do anything, and Montgomery feast. So unless you plan on taking both, I'd stay away from him. I think the only obvious choice here is CeeDee Lamb, a megastar receiver. I think the only receiver that has the possibility of matching your Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase. So I would take him at this position. That's not really what I wanted, to be honest. I wanted like Genty and another great running back like Jonathan Taylor or something, or Derrick Henry, but that didn't work out because we got the 5th pick, which had we got like the 9th or 10th, that would have worked out. For receivers here, there's actually a couple sleepers that I really like. The problem is it's too early to reach for them. I do think McConkey here is going to have a good year. It just makes... There's a reason he's listed as high as he is. He's developing really well, and he's younger. I just think he's going to definitely have a solid year. I don't know if he's going to have this good of a year, but there's a reason he's ranked here ahead of Tyreek Hill. You go back to running back, and honestly, this is kind of my... I think Derrick Henry, again, maybe too good to be true because he had a really good year, and he's going in the 2nd round versus the 1st. But again, there are so many good running backs. That's why I like Genty so much. There's a reason Genty is ranked ahead of Henry. But I think I would take Henry here and understand that we're still going to get some consistent production out of him. And the running backs, I think, are way more scarce than the receivers. I wouldn't take, even if he was available, I wouldn't take Bowers here. I would reach for Genty, but not for Bowers. But anyway, and then for quarterbacks, I don't think they're worth taking this early. There's a guy I like a little bit later. Actually, a couple I like that we can get later. So in this position, I would go with Derrick Henry. We got CeeDee Lamb. I'd go Derrick Henry. And then you can kind of see who's off the board. So I'm going to go to the receivers right here. So in the past, I would see these two guys and be foaming at the mouth to grab either Davante Adams or Mike Evans. And now that I understand that a lot of it is, I think, predetermined, I don't like either of these guys. I think they're going to have terrible years. I feel like, again, it's too good to be true seeing Mike Evans go in like the 3rd round. Vegas only has him getting about 800 yards. So Vegas does not have him getting 1,000 yards this year. So even if he has a good year, I don't think it's going to be a crazy one. And even when he's had good years before, they've never been like outstanding. So I don't see any upside in Evans. He's one I'm hoping people take the bait, fall for him, grab him, along with Davante Adams, and we can snag up an actual star like Jonathan Taylor or Jacobs. Quarterbacks, so of the ones here, I like Burrow the most. I think he's got the best value here. We can wait, probably get him in the 4th, almost definitely, maybe even the 5th. and he, I think he's going to outperform at least one of these two, Hurts and Daniels. I think he's going to be top 3 in production. So kind of stacking up on running backs, receivers. Taylor, Jacobs, they're very similar. Taylor gets injured more. Green Bay passes more. I do, looking at the Vegas numbers, they do seem to back Jacobs more than Taylor. And he stayed healthier, so I would take Jacobs. Bucky Irving's probably going to outproduce them both. I just don't like the risk. So Marvin Harrison Jr. was a guy I was going to talk about because I wanted to take him next. I think Marvin Harrison Jr. is going to be the absolute sleeper of the draft. Like, of all the players, I think he's going to be the one that, like, okay, next year he's going in the first round. So we have Burrow. Here's the thing. I love DJ Moore and I love Burrow. And the best we can do is see who picks after us in this little mock. So we know the guy right next to us won't be taking a quarterback, nor will this guy. So there's a very good chance Burrow doesn't get snagged. Let's see how they're doing on receiver. 2 receivers there. So we know blank Pacheco here is 100% going to take DJ Moore. Whereas there's a chance we land Burrow. So using that logic, I'm going to go with DJ Moore and hope that Burrow doesn't get taken. So that's kind of the math that goes into it. Had we done that the other way around, and I could replay it or something, but I think had we done that and these are like ESPN expert picks, so it's not random. Like, they're actually picking with like what most good fantasy players are going to be doing. But there was only one threat to take Burrow, and that guy didn't. Whereas there were like 2 threats to take the receiver who was number 1. So even though Burrow is definitely higher value in my opinion, because Mahomes just doesn't put up the numbers, Burrow is in a higher tier in my opinion. Losing DJ Moore would have really sucked. So especially after not getting Marvin Harrison Jr. So this, again, I'm trying to show like the strategy behind the picking, as well as the numbers. I kind of wanted Godwin from the Bucs. I'm not gonna lie, he's a consistent guy, but we still have some good players. So we can look at our team right now, and we're pretty good. It's pretty solid, right? We got Burrow, Henry, Jacobs, CeeDee Lamb, DJ Moore. So we have like a little mix of consistency, which is like your Henry and your Jacobs, and then your upside, like DJ Moore, right? So I like to go for upside, but not all the time. So we could use a tight end. I like Sam Laporta, and in this position, again, it's kind of too good to be true. But if Kelce falls here, and we basically got our quarterback, our running backs, and our receivers, I'm probably just taking Kelce. If Kelce's, like, in my opinion, the worst guy on my team, that I'm fine with that. There's also a receiver I like that we can wait on. There's actually 2 of them, but they're getting snagged up by these, expert mock drafts. It would be nice to grab Aaron Jones Sr. and have a nice 3rd running back too, because there are other good tight ends. But anyway, so there's 2 receivers. I'll probably wind up missing one of them, and a tight end. And I only know this because my friend's a Bears fan, and she loves one of the tight ends, and the receiver is just, I think, going to do very well. You probably know who I'm talking about already. So I've been noticing in these drafts, they're going a lot earlier. Like, there's like 5, 6, 7 players ahead of them in the position, and they're getting drafted. So I'm going to have to keep my eye out for that. So here, like, the safer play is Kelce. The riskier play is Jones. We need a flex position anyway. It leaves us weak at tight end. But I think it really gives us Jones is a solid running back. So again, we can look at teams here and see who needs what. So the guy next to us won't be taking a tight end, nor will this guy, but they all have 2 picks. There's a good chance we can hold off on Kelce. Now holding off on Jones, 2 running backs. I think we can hold off on Jones. I think Jones will be available. So let's go ahead and take Kelsey. I was one pick off. Someone took him right before us. Oh well. Tony Pollard's not bad either. With running backs, you definitely want to get a starting running back, especially in the NFL these days. Even if it's a player that, might not be great. I always go for consistency. I love Calvin Ridley. So here's where I'm getting to the receiver portion. You notice, Rome, I mentioned my Bears fan friend, and I honestly don't know her opinion on Rome. So I know she thinks he's good, but essentially Rome, and I don't watch that much Bears. The reason I know as much Bears stuff is because of that, actually. But Rome, I have a feeling, is going to be usurped by Luther Burden. So, while it's nice because it's like, wow, I could just wait and grab Luther, what's happening is because other people also like Luther Burden. See how he moved up? He's getting taken, when you think you got a lot of time. So, if we wait till the next round, he'll still be available. But the round after that, he might not. Now, Calvin Ridley, again, I would consider him kind of risky. You got a new quarterback. But I can also see him going off. I think in the 7th round, it's a steal. You notice Ben Ayuk, Stephon Diggs, Deebo Samuels, Cooper Kupp. I mean, you put them up against Calvin Ridley and Rome, and it's like 9 out of 10 people are going to take Stephon Diggs or Deebo Samuel or Ben Ayuk because they're just better. So the fact that they're rated this low, to me, is a serious red flag. It lets me know that of the 3 of these receivers, Diggs, Samuel, Ayuk, I bet you one of them has a really good year. Oh, Kupp, we can even throw him in the group. Of the 4 of them, I bet you one has a really good year. I bet you one does really bad. And I bet you 2 do average. I think Ridley's going to have himself an above average year. So I like him way more than the others. And Pollard, I think Pollard's more important because, again, I do like Luther. But honestly, after like I said, I'm not a big fan of these guys. I wouldn't mind grabbing one of them, I guess. Just hoping I grab the right one. I'm going to go with Calvin Ridley. I do like Pollard, though. It's unfortunate. Maybe he makes... No, he didn't make it to us. All right. Now, this is the position almost where you need to grab Luther Burden if you want him. Because it's where I've done this mock a couple times, just different picks. And it's about where he's been going. We have other quarterbacks. For backups, there's a guy here, and maybe it's for a reason, but I don't understand why he's so low. It's like an MVP caliber quarterback, and he's ranked one of the lowest. Robinson Jr. is good. After missing Pollard, I would probably just grab him if I'm being honest. For receivers, I would grab Ayuk before Deebo. I just have a feeling McLaurin, that's the other guy. So the 3 mid-range receivers that I think are sleepers that are first-round potential are DJ Moore, Marvin Harrison Jr., and the other guy McLaurin. Those are the 3 that I absolutely love. If I could snag 2 of those 3 and still get, Burrow, I'd be pretty darn happy. But you can't get them all. But anyway, so I would avoid Deebo here. Deebo or Ayuk, they're fine as flexes or as backups. I just don't think that they're going to do anything crazy. Again, there's a reason Myers is ahead of them. I don't know too much about him. To me, he's too much of a coin flip. It doesn't hurt to get another tight end because they can be Kelsey can be injured or inconsistent, and you can always put them in the flex spot. But yeah, so it's for me at this point between Brian Robinson Jr. and grabbing either Ayuk or Deebo. Now, I'm grabbing Robinson because I'm going to want Luther, and if I don't take him in the next round, I won't get him. So, let's see. Let's see if we get him now. Watch. He might get taken. Nah, he didn't. Ramon Stevenson's fine, too. I could have waited on him. So now I'm going to reach and take Luther Burden. Just because I know this is about where they have him going. Njoku, yeah. I was going to grab him next if he was available. Now, here's the other guy, and again, it's another Bear. He's super low. Loveland here. But he's going ahead of And in this mock draft, and again, these are the experts. I've seen him go ahead of Godert. I've even seen him go ahead of Dalton Kincaid. So at this point in the draft, like if you're not like, okay, I basically got my team, but there's a guy you really believe in, it would not hurt to grab him. Let me see if Golden's available. He's the other one from the Packers. I found out about him on my own. And he was going around where Luther was. He probably went, again, Hopkins. People are going to reach and take him probably just because he's Hopkins. I don't think I can search for him. I don't think Golden's in here. He probably got taken. He's another one. If you can't get Luther Burden, grab Golden. I think he'll be fine too. We can grab our backup quarterback. But here's the thing. I think Caleb's going to be great. I really do. Obviously, so does Vegas and the experts. So Caleb's definitely worth grabbing. Because don't forget, having two quarterbacks is good for matchups. It's not just for bye weeks. But this is the one that's confusing me is CJ Stroud. Vegas obviously knows something, as do these experts. This guy is, a throwing machine and had a down year last year, but nothing would tell me that Drake May is going to do better than CJ or Dak for that matter. But obviously Vegas, so I love CJ, but I would stay away from him. Caleb wouldn't hurt to take him here. If not, we probably won't get him. Brock's obviously good, but I think Caleb's going to have like the most opportunity. You're going to have him throw. I think as far as pass attempts, Caleb might lead the league, which makes it very appealing to take him. I do like Dowdle a lot. So, yeah, I would actually just take Caleb right here. And then take Loveland if he's not taken. So, yeah, it's... And this kind of goes hand in hand if you think about it. You have Caleb, who they're trying to develop. And then you have a quarterback's best friend, a tight end, right? A first-round tight end. And then that opens up the opportunity for big plays for Burden. So I think down the year, we're going to notice Burden move into the second spot and roam. Or just play slot, but get way more targets than roam. So the defense part, I always feel like it's a nice troll just to... now, there's really no definitive best defense. I'll have to look into what they count as good defense. Usually it's a sack, an interception, fumbles, turnovers, and if you hold them under a certain amount of points, then you get credit. So in that regard, the Broncos Steelers make sense. I feel like it's a nice troll to grab the top two defenses right away. And it's good to have two defenses because if you have every week your defense could be playing, the Bills, right? It'd be nice to be able to play the defense that's more likely to not give up as many points. So we have two tight ends. We could use another receiver just because with Burden, there's that chance he's not great. So, his first year. So it'd be good to get someone else. I like Dobbs. The problem with the Packers, there's too many options. So I feel like you'd be trying to get very lucky. Mims Jr. is my favorite of all these guys, if I'm being honest. And then Quentin Johnson. I think both of them. I think McConkey's going to be the clear number one. But I think Johnston's good for maybe 1,000 yards and 7 touchdowns. Mims the same, maybe more touchdowns for Mims. But in this spot, I'm just going to go ahead and take the computer pick, the top defense. I almost want to grab the fucking Eagles or Steelers too, just to have both top. But they're all, you can see how close they are. The ECR is basically where they're normally drafted. It's hard to pick a defense. Here's the thing with kickers too. Now I know they do give more points for the longer the field goal is, but it's really not about the best kicker. It's about the team that's most likely to kick the most field goals. And in my opinion, that is definitely going to be... I think the Chargers are going to kick more field goals than the Cowboys. That's just my opinion. Now, Aubrey does have that upside where he hits them from so far that if your league, which I imagine this league does have, if it's a 60+, you get more points, all that stuff, and he's so consistent, it does make him worth drafting more than other kickers. But they're all so close, and it's such a coin flip. I don't see a reason to reach for a kicker. So we got two quarterbacks. It wouldn't hurt to grab a third quarterback, in my opinion. Brock, after the big contract, anything can happen. Drake May is the one with the upside because he can run. So Drake May could have himself, I think, a top 10, I'd say, as far as quarterbacks go, fantasy year. Maybe top 8 to 10. Uh, Maybe more so than Purdy or Dak. Running back, Allen's not a bad choice. I could wait for Hunt. We have some running backs. Let's actually look at our team. So we're pretty stacked, I'd say. I'd say if like Calvin Ridley's like our worst player, we're doing pretty good. So the kicker's the only thing we're really missing. We got our backup quarterback. So okay, just bench at this point. We could take another tight end just in case Loveland doesn't work out, but I don't think that'll be a problem. Plus these guys, most of them will probably be free agents. I think receiver makes more sense just because, again, in case Luther or Ridley or something doesn't work out. I like Mims Jr. here. McCarthy's good there. I saw McCarthy get taken. I could see McCarthy having a really strong year. It's kind of the reason I like Drake May. And I'm actually going to grab him right now. All right. And we got our kicker. I like Fairbairn. I feel like he's been like super consistent. And not to keep bringing up the Bears, but maybe I'm just like missing something. I thought Santos had like a really good year. Like every time I watched the Bears, he was kicking a field goal. And he is like listed so low. So you know what that tells me? Like you combine these things. It tells me that Vegas, these experts, they're expecting way more touchdowns out of the Bears this year, which means they're probably expecting more out of Caleb, and that's why I'm going after some Bears. You can use that logic with a lot of teams. And now, again, Fairbairn's toward the top, CJ Stroud's toward the bottom. Maybe means CJ gets less touchdowns, Fairbairn kicks more field goals. So I think Fairbairn's a really solid kicker. And there's our team. I usually take 2 defenses, but in this case, and by the way, I hope it's not. If this is blurry, I don't know. I might just have to redo the video, which would suck. Because I did this and I did it like on another phone, but when I looked at the video afterwards, for some reason it was blurry. I don't know if it's because I was looking at it in a photo and not like on YouTube. But anyway, yeah, so I'm hoping if this is blurry, I'll probably just start it over. But if it's legible, I'll put it out there, and I apologize for any blurs. But yeah, I think we got a pretty solid squad here. A lot of fantasy, just kind of, again, knowing who you're... As you can see, the guys 3 to the right of me all have running backs, right? So it just tells me, like, okay, I don't have to go, like, they're not going to need running backs. And then down here, okay, the guys to the left of me have quarterbacks. So if they're picking after me, I could probably... And I'm not saying it happens perfectly. But if they're picking after me and they have a quarterback, I can wait like we did with Burrow. And that's a steal in the 5th round. So yeah, CeeDee Lamb, not my favorite guy. I prefer Bijan Robinson. I prefer Genty. It just felt like really early to reach for Genty at 5. That's why I'd rather like the 8 pick. With the 8 pick, we could have had Genty and Saquon, which I would have preferred. And then grabbed like Marvin Harrison Jr. and DJ or something. But yeah, I think this is pretty solid. We got CD, Derek, Josh. Derek and Josh, I think, guaranteed consistent every week. DJ, I think, has the most upside. So I feel like we got like a first rounder there. Joe Burrow, I think, is going to be top 3. They made a point of really having a focal point on the offense. They love Joe Burrow. People are tired of the Chiefs. So I'm expecting some like sling fest between Burrow and Allen and Burrow and Lamar. Kelsey, probably going to be a disappointment, but that's fine. I would grab Sam Laporta, but again, then we don't get Burrow or DJ Moore, so or Hawkinson. I like both of them, but Travis is fine. Calvin Ridley's a guy, again, years ago when I was like, oh, you know, this is all real, none of it's scripted. I would have taken like Cooper Kupp or Stephon Diggs, but that's who I think people that just are going to assume that Vegas might not have an influence, they might take those guys. But obviously Vegas knows something. That's why I like Ridley. And Aaron Jones would have been great. He would have been a great flex. I actually think I prefer Ridley over him just because Jones can be a little inconsistent. Ridley, I think they're going. He's the main receiver on a team with a first overall quarterback, is it? So that should be interesting. Brian Robinson's pretty consistent. Probably going to be, and again, these are bench players, so Robinson's a bench player. But even if we plug him in on the right week, he'll do fine. I think he gets a decent amount of receptions, but nothing crazy. Luther here. The only problem with Luther is if he's going to be like he's perfect for a keeper league type deal because he might very well do like 800 yards this year and then just completely explode next year. So I might be a year early on Luther, but he's still worth it in the ninth round. Oh, I took 3 Bears in a row. I just noticed that. Um, and then, yeah, Caleb, obviously, by proxy. And then Loveland. There's a reason this guy's going. So I was surprised because there was, every time he gets taken, there's like 5 or 6 tight ends ahead of him. And these teams are based off of like analyst from this website, meaning, and other websites, meaning that like they're all in consensus saying that Loveland is better than like 7 or 8 of these guys that are ranked ahead of him. I'm gonna go with that. Broncos consistently very boring team, slow paced defense. So I love them for them or Pittsburgh would be my first defense. Marvin Mims again, I think he'll do fine. I think Drake May's got the most upside of the backups besides Caleb. That's why I took him instead of like a CJ or a Brock. I think May might actually just bust out some banger games. Especially maybe some of these games against the Jets or Dolphins. It'd be good to play him. And then I can't even see my last pick here. Oh, it's the kicker, Fairborn. Okay, yeah, we got Fairborn. So yeah, not a bad team. I don't think, or not a bad squad. Here's the rosters broken down, kind of the same deal. So again, when like Kelsey or maybe Ridley is like our worst player, I think we're pretty good. Let's look at the other squads. I think this first one sucks. Goff, Kieran Williams, Chuba Hubbard. Now some of these guys like Williams could wind up doing really good. Hill, I think he's gonna not do that good, or he'd be going in like the first, second round, but he's going in the third. Judy might do pretty good this year. This team's actually pretty darn good. So he managed to get somehow. Well, actually it's pretty simple to explain. But Josh Allen and Bijan Robinson, I love Bijan Robinson. Trey McBride, there's a reason he's like the #1 tight end out of nowhere. They're expecting big things from him. I think the rest of the team's mediocre. I feel like in fantasy, everyone always feels like their team's the best, though. Montgomery, I think he's going to do all right. I like a good pick. James Cook's fine. But coming off of Cook's year last year, I expect him to drop a lot. Bo Nix, I have no faith in. I do think Chase Brown and Mixon are good running backs that people are expecting them to be grossly outperformed by, like, Josh Jacobs and Jonathan Taylor. I think Mixon and Brown might actually do better than those 2 running backs. Neighbors is a good pick, and so this is actually this is like all upside. This pick here, this team here, like this guy's either going to not win a game or win the Super Bowl, because all these guys are guys that you're not picking them big because they killed it in prior years. You're picking them because it makes sense that they're going to kill it going forward. McConkey, Worthy, Neighbors. It's basically the same for all of them. Bo Nix. So that's an interesting team. This is a pretty good team too. Pretty kind of weak at running back if you ask me. Jackson Smith here might be. He's kind of a 50-50. Justin Jefferson obviously going to do good. Jets D. Jameson Williams. So the reason I'm staying away from receivers on the Lions, maybe outside of Amon St. Brown if he fell far enough to me. There's just so many options on the Lions. You don't know who's going to do what which week. I guess that's why Goff's not a terrible pick. But the rest of them, it's really hard to tell. And Laporta, because he's the only tight end. But it's just hard to tell. But Hawkinson's solid. And yeah, not a bad team. A pretty weak bench. I think our team definitely has the strongest bench. This is a pretty strong bench. Addison, Ayuk, Pittman, and Dowdle. It's actually a really strong bench. All right. And now we're on to... Here's our team, and then Baker's a good one you can wait for. Kind of Burrow type deal where he's going to put up good numbers. It's not like Allen's going to like completely whip him. So taking Allen in the second round or you can get Baker in like the 6th, 7th, to me, there's way more value in waiting like we did with Burrow. Saquon, I worry because of the Madden curse and because he did so good last year. Hampton probably has a really good year with the way the offense is opening up. I do like both of these receivers a lot. Um, if it was like Marvin Harrison and McLaren, it would be even better. But two good receivers. Zay is good. This feels like a very consistent team, not a Super Bowl winning team. Jalen Hurts, Gibbs, Henderson. This one's pretty good. Higgins just got that huge contract, so he could either do really good or really bad. Really no in between. I think Hurts does, top 5 numbers. Gibbs will do good, even though I said they split carries. He's still going to have a better year than last year. I just think Montgomery might cut into that. I actually like Waddle more than Hill. I have this feeling about Hill. Really weak bench. Bears D. And Bowers is going to be good. I just don't know if he's worth taking that early. This team looks really good right off the bat. This team might be better than ours. They got Pat Mahomes, which we could have got Mahomes. His numbers aren't that good. McCaffrey and Taylor, pretty solid. Rashee Rice, it really is going to come down to is it going to be him or Worthy? And it could be both of them. So to have the Mahomes-Rice combo really works. I think Harrison's going to be the steal of the draft. The Joker, that's who I was going to take. And then Devontae Smith. Yeah, honestly, if I'm being honest, I think this is the... Now, if we're including benches, we might be better. But if I was in a league against this guy, and again, it's just a AI-generated team from Analyst, this one I'd worry about the most. Just because McCaffrey could get hurt, sure, so could Taylor. But if they do what they normally do, Mahomes is probably going to play better than last year. And Marvin Harrison's such a dagger. I feel like he's going to kill it. This team here, another good team. Took some chances at running back. I think they'll probably be above average at running back. Daniels, obviously, because he can run, is going to be great. 2 really good receivers, the best tight end, and a huge risk with Travis Hunter. I don't think Hunter's going to do anything crazy. Pretty good team, but nothing like the one to the left. We got Love, Arcane, Bucky Irving. So 2 running backs that are ranked very high, but might get overlooked because of other guys like your Jonathan Taylors. Nakua's like the new Cup. Complete consistency. Evans, I think, is going to bring the team down just because I think he'll do below average. Mark Andrews, I've been noticing a fall off too, especially with Isaiah Likely, the other tight end in Baltimore. DK Metcalf, I'd like to get him, or Pickens, or Godwin. These 3 guys are great. We didn't get any of them, but to get them this late, I think all 3 will be fine. Not a great team. This team I'm liking so far. Well, I'm liking Genty and Walker. I think K93 here, Kenan Walker, is going to just go nuts. I think he's worth taking in like the late 2nd round. I really do. But anyway, Genty fall into the 2nd round. See if I had... Oh, no, this isn't the rounds. This is my team, sorry. But either way, Genty I absolutely love. So him and like Marvin Harrison are like my 2 absolute favorites in the draft. But then I think we'll put up 1st round numbers. And they'll be in the 1st round next year, like top 7. And then I do like Luther Burden a lot. I just think he might take longer to develop. And Kenneth Walker's another one. So anyway, Brian Thomas will do fine. I think Devontae Adams will bust. I think Ingram's not going to do too good. And Pickens will be all right. So a really good start to the draft, but I think he kind of fell off towards the end of the draft here. And the last one is Kyler, who, if I could grab him as a backup, I would. I think just like Caleb, he's going to do very good. And it's kind of funny. These all these quarterbacks love like the same, like, mini dreads in a row, like Daniels, Love, Fields, Murray. They even almost have like the same kind of smile on their face. It's kind of funny. But anyway, I think Murray's a great sleeper. Breece Hall's fine. I think Kamara's kind of washed. Laporte is good, and Drake London. I think Drake London's another one who's going to do well, as is Nico, and Godwin's good too. This is a good team right here. I just think he's kind of weak at running back, but he has a pretty good bench. Actually, Tony Pollard's probably I could see him starting Tony Pollard over Kamara. But anyway, so yeah, I kind of wanted to go into that and see what you guys think. Kind of where my mind's at from kind of every perspective looking at these drafts. I know it took a while, but you kind of have to go into each round, obviously. So yeah, I think we have a good team. Outside of that team with Mahomes, I think we definitely have one of the stronger teams here. And I tried to mix it with upside and some consistency. So the upside obviously being guys like DJ Moore, Calvin Ridley, Luther Burden, and then the consistency being CeeDee Lamb, Derrick Henry, Burrow, and hopefully Travis Kelce. So hopefully you guys enjoy this. Oh yeah, and by the way, I never thought I'd bring myself to say this or do this, but I noticed there's a huge like sector for sports being scripted over on TikTok, and with my work schedule, I usually just don't have time to go into these deep dives. So what I thought I would do is just start dropping like quick little, I don't even have to talk. I can just kind of just show tickets of who I took and just drop them on TikTok just for people that want to tail my picks. I want to start doing a thing where I actually like each day you can watch my system. So like I will actually show you like each and every day who I'm taking, why I'm taking them, and how much I'm placing, how many units I'm placing with my bankroll. So you'll actually see like exactly how much. I did this before like years ago on YouTube over here. The reason I stopped was because someone got a hold of my log in, like, because it shows your sports ID. Someone saw my sports ID and they were able to mess around, but I was able to since then make it where even if someone has that, they can't do anything with it. But that wasn't fun. But yeah, I could just do like a couple live bam picks, and TikTok makes it pretty easy to get things out very quickly. So for example, if there was like a game in like an hour, I could just pop it on TikTok, it'd be up there, and people could just quickly get over there and watch it. So yeah, I never thought I'd be doing it, but also we've been shut down on here a couple times. One time I talked about, I guess, the vaccines too much. It was on like a live stream, and another time, just talking too much about political stuff. Oh, it was when Damar Hamlin quote died, and they did that whole thing, and we know what actually caused that. But anyway, yeah. So we've actually been shut down. That's why I originally did make that. So I do have one already. I think it's just the same. I think it's just National Sports Entertainment. I'll pop it in here, and that way we can kind of get it going again, where we get daily videos. I think it's the best way to do it. If you don't have one, please don't make one just for me. I literally only made it because it was a way to do. I didn't really feel like doing Rumble. It was a way to do videos, and then I thought there's even a better way that I can just, instead of going through a whole rigmarole, just kind of get the picks out there, the units. And for the people that are still on my Patreon, thank you very much. I know I haven't posted the system in a while, stuff like that, but I will be. And essentially, I'll be doing it on TikTok, but on my Patreon, I'm a little more specific about it. But it's a very condensed Martingale system, which means, as simple as it sounds, you pick a game. If it doesn't hit, you double up, and that sounds very, very reckless. But there's actually a whole system behind it, and there's certain criteria. And yeah, I've been doing it for years and have not lost money doing it. I can say that. And I started the system. You can watch some of my YouTube videos where I go into it too. But I started it because I saw a guy on like an online sports forum years ago who was doing it with baseball series. And he was posting his results in live time. Like, I'm taking this team tomorrow, this team tomorrow, this team tomorrow, posting his units, everything. And at the end of the year, he would show his spreadsheet. And yeah, so you could see this guy winning in live time. So I feel like that's the best way to do sports picks. Instead of me not having skin in the game or just telling you guys who to pick. You'll see I don't always win, but it's always about math. So like instead of the house having an advantage with the right system, you will have a percentage advantage. So you'll be seeing all that on TikTok. You know, they're quick videos. So I'll just be kind of just basically starting. It'll probably be starting tonight or tomorrow morning. Just teams I'm picking, how many units, and that's essentially it. And then the next night I'll probably recap how we did the night before, and do the same thing. So yeah, I think you'll see you can make a good bit of money on the side wagering as long as you're smart about it. Another cool thing is with TikTok, we can get live bets out pretty quick. So if there's like something that I'm noticing live, we can pop that out, and it's a lot quicker than YouTube. So I'll still be on YouTube, but I just thought that would be a cool way to, because we were for a while going every day, a lot of people watching, you know, and I was putting out a lot of videos and they were doing well. And then I just kind of had life hit me and haven't been able to upload. So I'm like, well, let me try it over on TikTok. Let me try and adapt with the times. So if you guys want to follow me over there, I would very much appreciate it, just so we can get it going. And I'll post a link in here. And thank you to everyone who's been watching for years. Thank you for everyone on the Discord. I popped into the Discord the other day. There was a ton of people on there. You know, I started that thing because someone told me to. I'm not usually in those kind of things, but I did like to go in there and talk sports with people. And I'll be in there again. I did really get locked out of my own Discord, and then I got back in. Then I got a new phone, and I haven't been in there as much as I want to be, but it's fun to get in there. A lot of people in there are smart and have a lot of live information they can give you, like as far as like who you know what certain games look fishy and stuff like that. And there's a fantasy section in there too. So I'll pop my Discord in the link too, or you know, in the comments too. But yep, kind of wanted to do a long video since I haven't done one in a bit, and I'll probably be doing my Pacers video. I'll probably just pop that over on TikTok, see how that goes. I can still post it on here, it's no problem, but that'll be tomorrow. So or late tonight. But I wanted to do this because a few people requested it. Actually, a lot of people, when I had checked like the Discord and stuff, a lot of people are into the fantasy, so I figured I'd get it out now. So take care and happy earnings.